I'll be committed to the University of Georgia. Go Dogs.
All right.
And that right there was the moment that Georgia landed the number one quarterback in the 2028 class, Jayden Wade. Yeah, did it look familiar? It should, because it was right here on the Rivals Recruits channel. We got Jeremy Johnson from Dogs HQ. We're going to break down not just that commitment, but what else is going on with Georgia recruiting after a massive weekend in Athens. But before we do that, Georgia fans, do me a favor, hit subscribe to the Rivals Recruits channel. We only got about 2 weeks left till signing day, so make sure you guys are subscribed. All right, let's bring in UGA insider Jeremy Johnson. You were in the state. We're going to talk more about the game here in a minute, but let's talk about Georgia landing number one quarterback Jayden Wade. Why do they love him so much, and how did they land him?
He's a very smart quarterback. Yeah, he's only a sophomore in high school, but the guy understands high-level football already. IMG asks him to do a lot of things that, he's going to have to do at the next level. There are some similarities with what IMG does offensively and what Georgia does offensively. That was something that he spoke to, in his interview about his commitment, is that, he sees a very similar transition to that position, in Athens. So, that's, one of the things that they really like about him. And also just I was watching him on film, and his ball placement and simply playing the quarterback position is something that he does at a really high level. He's a really good athlete, but, he puts balls in places where only his guy can make a play. And he also isn't a guy that's just, out here running around and creating off chaos. He can do that, but very good about playing on schedule, very good about playing within what's being asked of him and distributing the football. He's almost like a point guard on the football field. And that's, it sounds like something that's, it's dumbed down or bored down as a quarterback. We like to see that excitement, but that's what Georgia asked their guys to do. And, I think Jayden Wade is a guy that really fits that mold.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, of course, it's impressive. His highlights are impressive and everything. But then when you realize he's only a sophomore at 6'3", 185 pounds, he's going to continue to grow into that frame. But the thing is, he's already a great quarterback. He's not an athlete at the position. He's a great quarterback. So we're going to be talking a lot about him on this channel moving forward. Now, let's move our attention to 2027. See this? We're working backward, Jeremy. We did 2028. We're going to hit on some 2027, and we're going to finish with what's left in 2026. So 2027, already a commitment this weekend, and some huge names on campus. Start with the commitment.
Yeah, you got Noah Parker out of Macon County down in Montezuma, Georgia. Last time Georgia went there, they got a Buckets Award winner, and he happens to be related to Noah Parker. He's Roquan Smith is his cousin, and they talk a lot about Georgia football. So that connection was one of the things that immediately attracted Parker to Georgia. But I really feel like this is a guy that, he's a Georgia guy. He respects what the legacy is of Georgia having the history at the running back position. Herschel Walker, Sony Michel, Nick Chubb, Todd Gurley. Those are names he grew up hearing, and for him to have an opportunity to follow in those footsteps meant a lot to him. And I think that goes without saying how important it is when you talk about Georgia and how they're trying to build their culture. But that locker room has guys in it that care about getting better, being developed by, that staff there, but then also just caring about the University of Georgia. I feel like him committing early was him kind of making a statement. No, I really care about this place, and it's going to matter to me, long term. So,
right,
big time player. I think he's rated as a 3-star right now. I'm here to tell you he's a better football player than being a 3-star. That's just 100% just raw truth out of me. Haven't seen him a few times on film, and he's a big guy, big physical back that has some speed and has some ability to catch the football out of the backfield as well. He plays some middle linebacker, so he's tough. So, he's probably one of those guys that we're going to see rise in the rankings over the next couple months.
All right, now let's talk about headliners from that 2027 class that were in Athens this weekend. There was a bunch of them.
Yeah. The first name that comes to mind is David Jacobs Jr. He was there, him and his little brother 2028, defensive lineman Dawson Jacobs, and that family is, heavily connected to Georgia. His father played at Georgia. He's probably been to every big game at Georgia for the last 2 or 3 years, and he's been recruited by Georgia probably as hard as anyone. So, I think having him on campus again is huge. I know Notre Dame, USC, Miami, Tennessee, or just to name a few that are going to be, teams that are going to be involved in his recruitment. But Georgia's always looking for impact guys, especially at that position. When you start to consider, hey, LaDainian Guyton's no longer in that class. He's in the 2026 class.
Right.
And he's committed to Texas Tech. That was supposed to be the pairing. Was supposed to be LaDainian Guyton and DJ Jacobs. So he's the one that's left. So Georgia's going to pursue him hard. Obviously.
Does Georgia have to worry about Texas Tech here?
And with DJ Jacobs? I don't think so. I mean, but then again, if you had asked me that a year ago about the Damian Guyton, I probably wouldn't have said. I probably would have said no. So, you just never know what's going on behind the scenes. Just, I think Notre Dame and Tennessee are probably the schools that have the most. Hey, these are the teams that he really could be interested in. USC is another one that he really likes. So. It is. It's I like where Georgia is right now. I think Georgia's gonna, has shown that he's a priority and he's been receptive to that. But you just never know about what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be a battle for sure. He's an elite player.
Yeah, he's made a lot of trips this season, but it's always good to see him show up in Athens. So let's now talk 2026. What remains with 2.5 weeks left? What is Georgia trying to accomplish between now and National Signing Day? Inside Scoop listeners, let's talk Whataburger. Now, whether your team got the W or the L on the field, when you're heading home and you grab that Whataburger, you are always victorious. With a hot, fresh Whataburger in hand, no matter who comes out on top, when you take your team to Whataburger, you know you'll feel like a winner with food made fresh and hot every time, 24/7. See you at the game, and we'll see you at Whataburger.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple guys that are, that they would love to have. Blake Stewart was a guy that was on campus this week, a local guy from Woodward Academy, plays in Atlanta. So that's a guy that they're recruiting. Tyreek Jemison, we've talked about a couple weeks in a row now that he was back on campus yesterday as well. Georgia's in a really good spot there. We don't know what's going to happen. I know he's taking his official visit next week, so that's going to be one to watch and see how that kind of works out.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it's really at this point, signing days, we've got 3 weeks before signing day, so it's really about keeping the guys that are committed publicly, that keeping them and making sure that they sign in the next couple weeks, because this is the part of the year where, the last second things are happening and you're kind of trying to figure out who's going to actually sign on the dotted line on this National Signing Day. I mean, obviously the Vanderbilt stuff with Jared Curtis a couple weeks ago. I mean, he was on campus yesterday, so This may be the last time you get to see him and shake his hand and talk to him in person before he signs a national letter of intent in a couple weeks. So Jay Lamar obviously announced that he's shutting his recruitment down. That he was on campus yesterday. So just making sure that those guys that are committed are huge. Tyree Green's another one who was on campus yesterday that has had some other teams flirting with him. So. I think that's the main point at this part of the year for Georgia.
And that makes sense. I mean, Georgia recruited their ass off for most of July. I mean, incredible run they had it there in July. So at this point, the hay is in the barn. Hold on to what you got. Maybe add a piece or two by the end. But either way, even if they don't, this is a loaded class for the Dogs. So Georgia fans, talk with us. How you guys feeling about the big win over Texas? How you feeling about all these commitments that went down this weekend? Big weekend in Athens. Talk to us. Comment section below.